Welcome back to Entertainment Talk. Today, yet again, I'm here to talk about The Last of Us, but not The Last of Us 1 or 2, the actual games. I'm here today to talk about The Last of Us TV series, which is in development and has been ordered to series. It's now official as of yesterday. HBO is going to be doing the series, and I'm here to tell you about a couple of different reasons as to why you should be excited and what you've got to look forward to, and kind of just get into things really with The Last of Us on HBO. So yeah, I'm back again to talk about The Last of Us, but not for the video games this time, although it's going to be based on the games. So I'm going to be reading this, excuse me, I'm going to be reading this from Geektown, of course, from David over on geektown.co.uk. I'm not going to read out the entire article, I'm just going to read out some parts of it, but if you want to check out everything else that David does, geektown.co.uk, Geektown Radio on iTunes and podcast services for your weekly and TV and film news, and of course you can also check out this article and read it for yourself. So HBO orders The Last of Us TV series from Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann. HBO has handed a series order to The Last of Us, a drama based on the hugely popular video game, from Craig Mazin, the man behind the phenomenal Chernobyl, and Neil Druckmann, Naughty Dog VP and writer of The Last of Us and Uncharted video games, and of course the director of Last of Us Part 2. Based on the critically acclaimed video game Last of Us, developed by Naughty Dog exclusively for the PlayStation, so PS4 and PS5. First one was is on PS4 and PS5, and first one is on PS3 and 4. And the new one, of course, Last of Us Part 2, is on PS4 and playable on PS5 as well. So yeah, exclusively PlayStation platforms. The story takes place 20 years after the modern civilization has been destroyed. Joel, a hardened survivor, is hired to smuggle Ellie, a 14-year-old girl, out of an oppressive quarantine zone. What starts as a small job becomes a heartbreaking, brutal journey as they both must traverse across the US and depend on each other for survival. Hi there, and thanks very much for listening. Today I'm here to tell you about our two different affiliate links. The first of which is our Amazon affiliate link. That's where you can shop on Amazon. We can get a small cut of what you spend, but it won't cost you anything extra. So whether you're getting a gift for somebody else or treating yourself, or maybe both depending on the occasion, we can get a small cut of what you spend, but it won't cost you extra. You can find the link to our Amazon affiliate link in your show notes. The second affiliate link for today is our Kualu affiliate link. If you want to get started with a website and a domain name of your choice, you can simply sign up with Kualu using the link in the show notes. They also have a live chat support system that's in the bottom right hand corner as well. So if you need help with getting set up, Kualu will be able to help you with that as well. The links for both of these can be found in your show notes for Kualu and the Amazon affiliate link. If you would like to get the ad-free versions of Entertainment Talks podcast and support us along the way, you can simply sign up over on our Patreon page. You can sign up either as a creator or as a patron. There's no difference there for the time being, and you can get your ad-free podcasts over there. It's a great way to support us on Entertainment Talk and to get rid of the ads and get your ad-free podcasts. You can also support Entertainment Talk on Patreon at the $3 level tier. This gets you a chance to request a review from us of your favourite TV show or film, but it's one per month, so one TV show or film review per month. It's up to you which one you want to choose. We will watch a few episodes of the TV show that you choose, or of course if it's a film, we'll just watch that film and we will review that for you on that month. And then when it gets to the next month, you can request a new TV show or a film review of your choice. That's $3 level tier. That does also of course include your ad-free podcasts for the month as well. Thank you very much for listening and enjoy the rest of the show. So yeah, Craig Mazin, who did Chernobyl and what's it say here? Craig Mazin, the man who created the multi-award winning drama Chernobyl, will executive produce and write the script alongside writer and creative director of the original game, Neil Druckmann. Carolyn Strauss, Chernobyl and Game of Thrones, will also executive produce with Evan Wells, the president of Naughty Dog, and the and PlayStation Productions. So that, yeah, this is going to be a PlayStation production thing. I remember about a year or two ago, maybe it wasn't 2 years ago, maybe about a year ago or so, PlayStation announced that they're going to have like a PlayStation Productions thing, so that they can make various TV and film adaptations based on their games and stuff. So you've got like the Uncharted film that's coming up with Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland as Sully and a young version of Nathan. That's from PlayStation Productions. I think there's a bunch of other different ones in the works as well. I think that they've got Twisted Metal, I think, has got a TV series, and they're supposed to do some others in the future as well, so look out for those. So yeah, that's pretty much the basics of it. So why you should be excited. So I'm just reading out, the news piece. There is more in that article. I thought I'd save some of the rest of it. Again, you can check it out on geektown.co.uk. And if you want the weekly TV and film news, Geektown Radio on Tuesdays, you can find that on the website and by searching for Geektown on podcast platforms. Reasons you should be excited. I could do these in any order, really. HBO. Let's go with the first one. HBO. HBO gives the opportunity to be as mature as the story needs to be. There's no sort of restrictions or anything like that. So, yeah, I mean, if you look at HBO and, Last of Us, pretty much a perfect fit, because obviously they're known for doing particularly violent series and mature storytelling and things like that. Game of Thrones. Sure, I know some people didn't like the last season, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact of mature storytelling and that sort of thing. So they're well known for that, and they've got the ability to do that there. They've got the budget to do it as well, certainly. If, again, Game of Thrones pretty much is a great example just on the screen and everything. You can clearly see the budget that's put into Game of Thrones. And yeah, because like if you looked at Last of Us and it was being developed for a network, just like for example CW or ABC or NBC, it might still be good, but it won't quite. It will have the restrictions and it won't have as big as a budget if it was on a network. So that's the first reason to be excited is HBO. It will be there'll be ad free and all that. It will be able to be told in a mature sense, which is vital for this type of story, because when you got a mature story like a Game of Thrones or like a Last of Us, these sort of really mature violent sort of stories, you don't want to be censoring any of that, because the last thing that you want is to have a story with such a violent sort of history like that and to be censoring it. So that's another good reason as to why it's on HBO. Plus it's just a really good fit, I think, as well. Big budget, no restrictions, mature storytelling, and just you won't have like a 23 episode season either. You'll either have an 8 or a 10 episode season, or maybe 9 if you're looking at Watchmen as well. Watchmen, another great example of a HBO show. I mean, there's plenty of examples of good HBO shows. I've just brought up a few of them. But yeah, it will be a great fit. I think that will be very, very good as well. The other reason, Neil Druckmann is involved. Now, there's lots of different reasons why that's good. First of all, this isn't somebody coming in to the story to adapt somebody's work. Because going back to Game of Thrones, one of the biggest criticisms or problems there was, sure, you had George R. R. Martin sort of involved, but it was the Dan and David, wasn't it, that adapted the story. And this won't be somebody adapting somebody else's story. This is pretty much Neil Druckmann's thing. You've had other writers and people involved as well. Obviously, he didn't do the whole thing, but he's the main kind of guy behind the whole thing, Neil Druckmann. And he knows his story well. He knows what he wants to do probably with it. And you can put trust in him to do a great story again. Because you've had other slightly worse examples, maybe something like Walking Dead, where Robert Kirkman's it's his thing, and you've had like 6 different showrunners, because you had Frank Darabont, Glenn Mazzara, Scott Gimple, and now Angela Kang, some of which have done a lot better job than others. But again, those were different showrunners coming in to adapt the story. And although Kirkman was involved with Walking Dead early on, he is now suing the network for reasons that we don't have time to get into here, because of money reasons, basically. But yeah, Neil is coming in. He doesn't need to adapt somebody else's work. It's his thing pretty much, and that's great as well. So that's another good reason as to why he's in there. So you got Craig Mazin, the guy behind Chernobyl. So they're going to be working together on this pretty much. It's pretty much Craig and Neil's thing. So that's another reason to be excited for this. Um, excuse that. So yeah, obviously one really really good thing that he did not too long ago, was it last year? Some point, time flies, doesn't it? Chernobyl, one of the most critically acclaimed series of all time. I think on IMDb, if you want to go by IMDb ratings, it's really really high on those. And yeah, that was another. It's not post-apocalyptic, but it's a dire situation, sort of mature storytelling where people are dying, and it's got Chernobyl certainly got that post-apocalyptic feel to it, hasn't it? Or sort of that just, well, dire survival state, if you want to call it that sort of feel. I'm not trying to compare The Last of Us to Chernobyl, but they've got certain similar themes, certainly. Survival being one of them for different reasons, but yeah, I think that makes them to a really great partnership. I think both on their own, Craig and Neil are really good individually on what they've done. Of course, Last of Us 1 and 2, I absolutely love those games. I did a podcast earlier this week talking about that specifically, reviewed the second game obviously as well, and Chernobyl was fantastic. Obviously Neil wasn't involved with that, so yeah, lots and lots of good reasons to get excited in terms of those two being involved as well. The other reason to be excited is now I've been saying a lot over the last couple of years how we need to start, well, not us, the audience has no control of it, showrunners and people that make these things need to start looking at adapting video games to TV instead of films. Now, there are certain exceptions to that where, okay, if you take something like Detective Pikachu or Sonic, or something with a little bit less lore as opposed to maybe Last of Us or The Witcher, which are kind of recent examples. Uncharted can be like a fun kind of blockbuster Hollywood film, like a 2 hour kind of thing, whatever. But there's just certain properties that require, certainly from video game adaptations, with like The Witcher included as well, that have just got more lore, and you need more time to tell these sorts of stories. And just like the success of the Witcher TV show, which had a ton of lore in there as well, and just you needed a lot of time. I couldn't possibly see a way that with the first season of The Witcher you could have condensed that into one film, or at least part of it into a film. It just wouldn't have really worked. Same thing with Last of Us. There was going to be a Last of Us film. I think this has pretty much been turned into this, with the TV show, and yeah, it just gives more time when you've got like multiple seasons, like 10 episode, 8 episode, 1 hour or 50-minute sort of episode seasons, and you've got 8 or 10 of them, and then you've got about 5 seasons. It just gives you so much more time to flesh out the story, pace it right, structure it correctly, just I know I've said it a lot, but just give more time to sort of tell the story. There's other exceptions as well, things like Tomb Raider you can do as like a fun 2 hour action kind of thing as well. So not everything in video games needs to be adapted to TV, but certain things that have got more lore and more just sort of details in the story that need more time as well can certainly work. And Last of Us really, really does fit in that. So although, sure, I'd probably still be excited for a Last of Us film because I'm a huge Last of Us fan, if any of the content I've made this year has told you otherwise. Yeah, I'm a huge Last of Us fan, obviously, and I'd still go and see a film. I still would have seen the film that was, in development some time ago, but it's now been turned into this TV show. And I think that's a great alternative. We get to see this story. Whether it depends how much of the first game is in this first season, or if there's lots of parts of the first game that get told over a certain amount of seasons, and then you move into The Last of Us 2 and then you adapt that story, or if there's going to be original parts added. We don't really know anything about that yet, but it certainly gives better prospects, I think, to this Last of Us TV show. So yeah, there's a few reasons to be excited. Neil Druckmann not adapting somebody else's work. This is his thing, coming in and telling his story in a different medium. And all that, I think, works pretty well. Craig in here from Chernobyl, very critically acclaimed. Can certainly trust him to tell a story. You put them two together, you put it on HBO, you make it a TV show, because you could have done a HBO film, because obviously you've got HBO Max and everything else as well. But HBO, you put it on there, you put Craig and Neil together, two excellent people who know what they're doing. I'm curious to see kind of what Craig adds to this, because obviously this is Neil's thing, but you add somebody else with a lot of talent to that, and then they can put in their own ideas. I'm curious to see how that works out as well. HBO, like I said, budget, time, no sort of maturity constraints on the story, because this is an extremely mature adult story to tell, which you could not really, well, you could do it on a network, but it just would not work at all. I can't imagine like Last of Us being on ABC or Fox or something like that. It wouldn't really work as well. So yeah, those are a lot of different reasons to get excited. I'm certainly very, very excited. Am I going to be covering the show? Absolutely. So those are lots of different reasons to get excited. And of course, well, first of all, we don't know the release date yet, so we'll see when that kind of comes around. Casting, we don't know who's going to take the two big roles, Joel and Ellie, of course. And then we'll see what else they do with characters like Tess and Sarah and some of the other characters as well. If Riley is in this show, maybe. We don't know exactly what they're going to do with the story yet. If they're going to put some more original stuff in here, or if they're going to just do a straight sort of adaptation and put it on the screen. We shall see. I'd like a sort of Walking Dead type of style where you tell essentially the same story, but you sort of mix things up a little bit, maybe. But we'll see how that works. In terms of where you can probably watch this, obviously it's going to be on HBO in the US. HBO, of course, does still have their deal with Sky Atlantic, and although they don't have... See, here's the important thing to note. HBO in the US does have the deal still with Sky Atlantic in the UK. So for most of their shows, you know, the big ones, Game of Thrones, Watchmen, Westworld, some of the others as well, they usually get picked up by Sky Atlantic either next day, sometimes simulcast, maybe a couple of days later sometimes, like The Undoing at the moment is which is on HBO, that's on Sky Atlantic. Now this is listed as a HBO show and not a HBO Max show, and which is better for UK audiences really, because HBO Max does not have any overall deals. They have some separate deals, like Raised with Wolves, sorry, the Ridley Scott show just got picked up by Sky Atlantic, but they do not, HBO Max does not have any overall deals with anyone in the UK, so I'm actually quite glad that this is on HBO and not HBO Max, because that means it's got a lot more of a chance of popping up on Sky Atlantic. So yeah, we'll see who gets cast. I'll probably come back and do like a follow-up podcast and talk about the casting choices, either that or I'll talk about it on our gaming podcast. But I just wanted to take the opportunity to talk about this separately. We'll sort of bring this news up. I'll try and get some of Robert's thoughts next week. Obviously, I'm much more big of a fan of the games than what he is. He sort of played the first one and that sort of thing. But I'm much more of a bigger fan. We already knew that, but yeah, I'll ask his thoughts and stuff on Tuesday when we do the gaming podcast. But yeah, those are some reasons to get excited. Not a massive amount of reasons, but a small amount of reasons that are quite good to certainly get excited, which I think is good as well. So Neil Druckmann, Craig Mazin, is that how you say his name? HBO, just even those three things I think is just brilliant. So but let me know, what do you think? Are you excited for this Last of Us TV show? Do you think it's going to end up badly, or are you excited as me? Who do you think is going to get cast as Joel and Ellie? Of course, there's a lot of different suggestions online at the moment. I did like the tweet from Neil Druckmann yesterday. So, I don't have it to hand, but he said like, "Oh, wonder who we're gonna cast," and gave like a wink and like, "Oh, I wonder if there's any suggestions out there." So that was fun. But yeah, I will do some sort of follow-up when the casting gets announced. Don't know if it'll be this year, next year, or when things are going to kind of happen. Of course, we've got COVID kind of in the way as well, so we'll see. But look out for it. I'll guess at the end of 2021 maybe, we shall see. But let me know what your thoughts are. Like I said, Matthew at entertainmenttalk.org, Twitter eTalkUK. There's a contact page and information in your show notes. But I have a very, very good feeling about this one. I certainly do. So there we go. If you like what you've heard today and you want to hear more and you want to support more of what we're doing, you can check out all of our content on entertainmenttalk.org. For TV, video games, films and Manchester United, of course there is a Manchester United game tonight. We are playing against West Brom in a few hours, and I will have the podcast out for whatever happens in that game against West Brom later on. But you can check out everything that we do on entertainmenttalk.org. If you want to support more and you like what you've heard today, you can get involved on our Patreon page. If you check that out, the $1 and $3 level tiers for ad-free podcast and review options. Word of mouth, you can tell people that you know about the website and the podcast feeds and everything. Just tell them to check out Entertainment Talk, and that will be brilliant. Social media, you can do the same thing, but through Facebook and Twitter and different Facebook groups. If you want to check out, like I said, more of David's Geektown posts for TV and film news, up-to-date reliable TV and film news, geektown.co.uk and Geektown Radio on Tuesdays, and search for Geektown Radio on podcast services as well. You can also search for Entertainment Talk on podcast services and check out more of us on there as well. Over on the Twitch side of things, Bex is streaming daily over on Twitch as well. If you search for Tristabytes, she's got her Scream, I forget what they're called, Scream Stream Saturday kind of things that she's got going on. So check out Tristabytes, Trista Bytes, over on Twitch. So go and have a look out for her on there. If you want to check out me on Twitch, I'm going to be streaming after I put this podcast out. Actually, going to be doing some Pro Evolution Soccer again. You can check that out if you search for eTalk UK. Streaming different games, Watch Dogs, Walking Dead. I will be streaming Last of Us again eventually when I get back to it, the New Game Plus stuff, or just whatever I do next on that. So you can check that out, eTalk UK, and of course look out for Let's Play Sunday episodes as well. Thanks for listening. Get excited for Last of Us 2, the HBO TV show. Go and play the games, go and have fun and all that, and I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.